Please subscribe to Facetv Africa and turn the notification on. Facetv Africa, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ subscribe hete.
Face TV Muswobi.
So, gentlemen of the press, you are specially welcome to this very important press briefing on the Department of State Security Services failure to respect the court's release order in favor of the 12 detained associates of Mr. Sunday Igboho. Thank you very much. It has become imperative and urgent to make this brief address in light of the vindictive and oppressive conduct of the State Security Service in the matter involving 12 detained associates of the Yoruba Nation activist, Chief Sunday Adeyemo, aka Igboho. In the wee hours of the 1st of July, you will recall, 2021, a joint team of the men of the State Security Service and the Nigerian military, with neither lawful cause, the Ibadan home of Yoruba Nation activists, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, and extrajudicially murdered 2 of his associates, while rounding up, bonding, and abducting 12 others to be incarcerated without cause in the dungeons of the SSS, where they continue to languish without reprieve to this day. All 12 detainees, who were immediately subjected to degrading conditions of detention and torture, were denied access to their lawyers by the SSS up until the intervention of the court through an order recognizing and re-emphasizing the detainees' right to legal representation against whatever allegation against them. Regrettably, and indeed unacceptably, while no charges in full or tentatively have been preferred against all the 12 detainees, the SSS have failed and refused to honor an order of court which granted bail to and ordered the release of all the 12 detainees upon the perfection of the terms of their bail, which have now been fully satisfied and duly communicated to the SSS. The refusal of the SSS to honor a clear order of court through habitual, and is not only worrisome but unacceptable, is an affront on the authority of the court and our entire judicial system. Such blatant disregard for and contemptuous, spiteful, and insolent disrespect of an order of court, if allowed to fester, would undermine the very integrity of the court and bring even new level of rascality by the state agents. It would also amount to surrendering the freedom and right of all the 12 detainees to the whims and caprices of all agencies that has gone rogue and strive in willful disobedience of court order. In the light of this, we are giving the State Security Service, particularly its Director General, 48 hours and not an hour more, within which to fully obey and comply with the release order of the court in favor of all the 12 detained associates of Chief Sunday Igboho, or face contempt proceedings before a court of competent jurisdiction with full weight and recompense of court brought to bear against his insolence and disregard of court order. Take notice that we will not fail to exhaust all legal and social remedy available to the detainees in enforcing their rights in this matter, setting the tone against the SSS notorious disregard of due process and rule of law. Gentlemen of the press, it has become apparent that the SSS has developed a very terrible psychology of disrespecting the laws of the land, disregard for the constitution, disrespect for the courts, and this is an affront on our judicial system. This is an affront on the democratic system we believe to practice, and this is an affront on the nation itself. In view of this, we have communicated to all social forces, and we are calling on all Nigerians, we are calling on all international communities to understand that we are currently under a government that has been hijacked by spineless entities whose intention is to torture, oppress, suppress Nigerians. And we shall take this no more. These people were unlawfully arrested and detained by DSS. We approached the court, and the court granted them bail under the law. The court granted them bail on conditions, and the conditions have been met. This also has been communicated to the state security services, but because of their arrogance, because of their utter disrespect for our law, they have refused to release all the detainees. The detainees have remained in a very bad situation, under torture on daily basis, sleeping on the floor. We are tired of this. In every democracy, it is very important that the Constitution is supreme. The Constitution is above every citizen. The Constitution is above every government agency. And our position is this, that the DSS must come to recognize that in a constitutional democracy, that the law is above every individual, and it does not matter how they feel. It does not matter their individual opinion about the person of Chief Sunday Igboho or about the person of the 12 detainees currently in their detention. We want to call on the DGDSS that this is a very serious warning. We want to call on the Nigerian Bar Association to wake up to its responsibility. There's a need for us to begin to hold accountable people who are trusted with position of authority. There's a need for us to begin to hold accountable people who are given responsibility to protect our constitution. DSS, police, and all that law enforcement agencies should first learn how to respect the law and show due regard to our law. These people have been granted bail, but the DSS has refused to release them for reasons best known to them. And we want to say this, beyond go proceeding with a contempt proceedings against the DSS, we are very, very sure and certain that Nigerians, particularly the Yoruba people who feel they have been oppressed under this government, will mobilize in no distant time for a very serious revolution, for a very serious protest to liberate Nigerians, to liberate this country from the hands of spineless entities who believe they can act the way they are. And that is the reason we've invited you all to this important press conference, to let the world understand that we are tired of acts by individuals who are privileged to be in position of authority, yet take the position of authority to oppress and suppress citizens. We are tired of the disdainful acts of the DG of DSS. This is not the first time, for the record, that the DG DSS has demonstrated arrogant disrespect for our rule of law. This is not the first time that the DG DSS has shown utter disrespect for court order. There is no land where democracy is practiced that there is flagrant disregard for the law, flagrant disregard for the constitution, flagrant disregard for the court, and it appears nothing is happening. We are tired of this situation, and that is the reason we've invited you here. Thank you very much.
My name is Omole Timothy. I write for the Pride News Online. In your statement, sir, or in your speech, you said this is not the first time the DSS is acting this way around. Nigerians will recall that this is the same DSS refused to obey the court order discharging an acquitted Sheikh Ibrahim Zazaki in 2016-2018. This is the same DSS will tell you they are acting under the law. Now, if the DSS has failed to obey your demand, as in the 48 hours demand, by this time Monday morning, what will be your outcome? Secondly, are you not afraid that the Nigerian government will come after you by mentioning the word revolution, liberation? Thank you very much.
Yes, to be frank with you, like I said, that it is becoming a customary thing for the SSS to show utter disregard for our law. But we also understand very well that the DGDSS is also a citizen who is also binded by this law. After 48 hours, if DSS refuse to respect the court order, we will proceed with the contempt proceedings against the DG of DSS. We shall ensure that the court commit the DG DSS to prison. We want him to taste prison and see how the liberty of citizens should be taken very, very important. And as a matter of fact, if the DG DSS does not sleep in prison for 2 or 3 days, There is no way he can recognize the importance of liberty. There's no way he can recognize the importance of freedom. These people have been in the DSS facility for 2 months now. The lady among them has been sleeping on the floor. She has not been allowed to change her dress. She's been undressed publicly in the front of other male detainees. This is shameful. This is torture. And this is an affront on our law. And we cannot take it again. And that is why we've called on Nigerians not to joke about this thing. And I mean, if you look at what's going on in this country, it is very, very clear that there's misplaced of priority in the business of government, because the government of the day is afflicted with lots of troubles that is even beyond these 12 detainees who have no record of crime, have no record till today. The DSS we are talking about has not been able to prefer a charge against these people, and that is what we are saying. If you think you have anything against them, take them to court, charge them to court. That is our basic demand. And if they cannot charge them to court, they should release them according to court order, according to the court order. And that's our position.
Hello, sir. My name is Mohammed Jinali from Voice TV Nigeria. The judiciary as a body, what are they doing to fight for their life? Because it seems as if they bark but they can bite. Because as a body, they should be able to fight for the liberty of every citizen of the country. And like you said, they've not been charged. There's nothing preferred against them. Don't you think the judiciary at this point, forgetting about you being the defendant or the prosecutor, you should come together and fight for the laws of the land, for the rights of every citizen? That's what I'm asking.
I think I must tell you honestly that the best opportunity for Nigerians to understand that the judiciary, and of course importantly the constitution is supreme to all, is this particular issue in concern. I want you to know that the judiciary is actually independent. It's independent, though we understand that the executive is doing all it can to muzzle the judiciary, like something like the event we're seeing now. But we can assure you that by after 48 hours, when the SSS, after which the SSS refused to release these people, we shall proceed with contempt proceedings, and it shall happen, it will take place in an open court. And I can assure you without doubt that the DGDSS will be committed to Kuje. And this is very important, because the reason is because the laws of the land are very, very clear. You see, you have to respect order of court, and it's of great concern to me as well. And that is why we are using this opportunity. Tomorrow, or by Monday, we'll be writing a very important letter to critical stakeholders in the judiciary, and particularly the Nigerian Bar Association, because the Nigerian Bar Association is a critical stakeholder in ensuring that the rules of law, is respected in the country. We cannot continue in a country where the court will be giving out orders and the order will be disrespected. At any point in time that the order of court is disrespected, it renders the powers of the court useless, and it's very, very shameful. This is the reason why all of these actions must be taken. We are here to inform Nigerians that by the special grace of God, that the DGDSS may be a candidate for Kuje by next week if these people are not released. And we are not joking about this matter, because the laws are very clear. We are even willing to test the law. We understand that we've been hearing information from some people that we will have problems serving the DGDSS, and we've mapped out our plan. But we will also appeal to the SSS in the interest of justice, in the interest of liberty of these people who have been unjustly detained in their facility, and in their own interest too, to release these people peacefully so that they can reunite with their families. These people are innocent, these people have no crime on their head, these people have no criminal record, and the SSS also has not been able to even mention a single offense against them in court. And that is why we are demanding for their liberty, that's why we are demanding for their freedom. And it is also important to inform us that this affects every citizen of Nigeria. Today it is 12/8 of Sunday Igboho. Tomorrow it can be another person. It was in news yesterday that there was attempt to trample on one of the very important TV stations in this country, because we have a government that is deliberately angry about freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and these are things that we're worried about. And that is the reason we've called on the Nigerians, we call on the entire world to ensure that this matter is not taken lightly.
So lastly, just to round up, we've been hearing, if you can verify, okay, my name is Celestina, I come for CBC News, that the 8th of Sunday Igboho have filed a fundamental right to gain DSS. That's probably the reason they are still keeping them. Can you clarify on that?
That's not an excuse. And I can tell you that I'm actually the lawyer in this matter, and these are the team of legal practitioners working in the matter. Of course, there are other lawyers also, but we are all working as a team. There's no such process that is before the SSS. And be that as it may, the question and the issue before us right now is that there is a subsisting court order. I mean, if there's a subsisting court order, you cannot take that away, regardless of the fact that the DSS is claiming that some people have instituted a matter. We are not aware of that matter, but what we are saying is that there is a subsisting court order, and that order is an order of release, and DSS is bound to respect it, and that is our demand. Go on, Ben.
You said the crimes met bail conditions. At what point, when exactly was the bail perfected? When exactly? What day?
Yeah, I can't specifically give you date right now, but as I speak to you, the release warrant has been served on the DSS. As at Monday this week, we have perfected all the bail conditions, and my lord has signed the release warrant. So what we expect, what is SSS still doing from Monday to Friday that you cannot release these people? And what kind of administrative procedure are they going through that they cannot release them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and this is Friday? This country cannot continue like this.
Thank you very much.
Can you permit some of my colleagues to
speak.
addend on this?
You need to change the mic. Move the mic.
Right. Look, our demand is very simple. That the DSS must obey the court order, and they must release these people. Because in the eyes of the Lord, having gotten their release order by the court, they are now a free man in the eyes of the Lord, who is entitled to the benefits of Constitution, particularly with respect to their liberty. And that cannot be joked with. The DSS has responsibility to respect the rule of law and the order of the court, and that must be protected by all means.
Yes, sir, please. Have you been served with the notice of appeal? Because they said that they appealed the ruling of the court.
Yet the fact is this: whether there is an appeal or not, there is a substituting order of the court, which is bound to be obeyed. So until DSS actually comply with the order of the court, as a matter of fact, if you are in a breach of order of the court, you have no right of audience before the court again.
Please subscribe to Face TV Africa and turn the notification on. Face TV Africa, subscribe,
Face TV was Swoby.